This is the War Room Roundtable podcast, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant businessmen and women on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they've learned on the road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their successes into your life and business. The War Room Roundtable is brought to you by your hosts, Jason Miller, CEO of Strategic Advisor Board, and Phillip Lanos, CEO of Own the Rhythm, and former podcast host for Entrepreneur and Inc. magazine. Welcome to the War Room, Erin. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we were getting a chance to catch up, and we get to see you in your lab with the coat, and everything is in order. So thank you for taking the time out to do that. And my favorite thing to kick conversations like this off with is, do you come from a family of entrepreneurs?
Kind of, as of recently. So growing up, not so much. Both of my parents were in the corporate employer world. But since I've started this journey, pretty much everyone in my family is an entrepreneur now. So I have a CBD retail and manufacturing facility, and my mom, brother, and dad are working on a hemp cultivation business. So they're involved with that. My grandparents are involved helping us out and doing trainings and stuff. So yeah, it's not really growing up. I didn't have many role models, but as of recently, we've kind of been going through this transition together.
Oh, see, this is a very powerful story to bring up. It's sort of the power of having an entrepreneur in the circle at all, right? And what that can cause and create, if it makes sense. So then where does that stem from? Where did you finally get the gumption, the clarity, the vision, the purpose to make this step forward?
Yeah, so it all kind of started with my mom getting her hemp cultivation license. She got it kind of just learning about the plant and how it was benefiting her. And Ohio was releasing, that's where I'm based out of. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. But Ohio was releasing hemp licenses. So she snagged one. But I'll rewind a little bit. So I just graduated from the University of Akron last spring, 2021. With my bachelor's in exercise science. And my whole plan throughout college was to go to PA school to become a physician's assistant. So it's kind of like very different than what I'm doing now, because that's very like a pharmaceutical traditional path. And now I'm an entrepreneur of a cannabis business. So that's been quite this flop. But it all kind of started, I went to Akron to play soccer with at the University of Akron. I played collegiate soccer there, and I met my best friend, who is my business partner now. So we were roommates for 4 or 5 years now, and I stopped playing soccer my second year, and that was really tough on me for sure, because I grew up and soccer was like my one constant happiness. It was my therapy, my passion, my love. Like I poured everything into it. And I was like focused in school and stuff too, but like soccer was like what I did from when I was like 2 years old to 19 years old. So when I stopped, I was like a little confused. I didn't know what to do with my life. I think I did kind of get wrapped up with my childhood identity being in soccer, as I'm sure a lot of other people do, with whether it's your sport or just a different passion you have that kind of consumes you a little bit. So I was figuring out what I wanted to do. And that was like around the same time my mom got her license. And it was a similar time when COVID was hitting. So me and my roommate were together like all day, every day, just coming up with like random, fun, cool ideas. We wanted to make a skit show, and we wanted to start a cafe where we made like drinks and pastries that were like infused with different cannabinoids, whether it was CBD or THC. It was just kind of dreams at that point. And my mom was getting into the industry with the Ohio people, the Ohio community, and got linked up with this team out of Colorado. So that's kind of where Primo Gardens Inc., which is what my store is called, originated. There's a store there that has the retail front with the lab in the back, and they came out to Ohio to pitch this concept. So I voluntarily went to this meeting with my mom, but I had no idea what it was about. She just wanted some company and asked me to go with her. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I'll go with you. And then it like totally just like put a new path into like my perspective that I didn't even like think about. Because the closer I did get to graduating with my pre-PA track, the more I was like, oh, like, do I want to do this? I don't know. And then this happened and we started working on building this out while we were still finishing up in college. So,
wow.
Yeah. And we just opened up almost a year ago. So it was last July. We opened up the end of July. So it's been almost a year.
Here is a very important thing to catch from this to make sure we talk about this along the way here. So this podcast, we've talked, I would say there's been nobody as young as you on this podcast. Okay. So I think it's important that we capture that because you're the audience this podcast was designed for.
Okay.
As far as like giving guidance and advice and all these different things. Right. So, so I think it's important that we capture that. And this is a great opportunity for you to really share your success story that you've had with this age group. So, because we have a very unique opportunity here to catch that here and really be able to put that out. For sure.
There's definitely a long-term stance to why this was originally launched. And we have the privilege of being able to be in touch with a lot of business owners. And it's really cool to hear the way your story has unfolded and the unique position it comes from, right? Now, where we left off in the narrative is you were on your way to finish college and then this happened and you decided to start a business. Now, did you finish college or did you leave it behind and actually move forward? Because we didn't address that.
Yeah, we were in our last semester, so we finished it out. Neither of us went to graduation. We didn't walk across the stage because we were like, we got other things to worry about. Like, I got an exercise science degree, not necessarily using it right now. My business partner got psychology, like going to use it in the future somehow, but not necessarily using it right now. So we were like, graduation, it's cool. I'm actually getting my master's right now as well in medical cannabis science and therapeutics through the University of Maryland. So I'll walk across that stage when that comes. I don't know. I would just say, like, I do think I have a very atypical story, like me and my business partner starting so young. We don't have that many close friends our age anymore, I would say. Like, we're kind of, at least I'm speaking for myself, my circle has gotten like a lot smaller. And I would say like only 3 or 4 of them are like within my age or a couple of years. So it's like, I don't know. I would just say, if you do want to do something that's different than the norm, I like doing different things. I have a letter on my wall that says, do something that nobody's ever done before. So I don't know if everybody's like that or if that's everybody's cup of tea, but if you do have that feeling inside of you where you are passionate about something and you think you could create something impactful out of it, then you have to just forget about what everybody else thinks and do it. And the people who are going to support you throughout that are going to stick by you. And the people who are going to be skeptical of you are going to fade off, and they might talk about you, but who cares?
Right. That's all they can do is talk, but they can't walk the path that you're walking. And those who can will. I love that, because it is a certainty that if one chooses to walk the path of business and entrepreneurship and what that means, there will be a stark difference between you and most people, especially in this age group where college area, like very beginnings and things of that nature. 100% going to immediately set you apart, whether you want it to or not. You won't even be able to have the same kinds of conversations because the challenges and obstacles that you're facing and the solutions you're looking for aren't found in your peers unless they themselves have adopted the same path and are looking to provide solutions, because it becomes, we were just talking about this, Jason and I, with the previous guest we had earlier, about this collaborative nature, because if you're in business, you have problems, period, the end. And you're either going to be working with people who are helping each other solve problems or not. But this is a perfect opportunity to now ask, now that you've launched, which, I mean, we didn't even get into, like, how did you secure funding? Did you bootstrap? Tell us some of this good stuff.
Yeah. So actually, we are really fortunate with how we got our funding, is the fact that we did play soccer at Akron. And so we got scholarships both our first 2 years, and then carried over with academic scholarships. So we're very fortunate that not everybody would be in the same position as us, but our parents were able to use a majority of our leftover college funds to help kind of invest in us. So that's how that got started. And they support us all the time still. Like, we're still growing from the bottom. It's really me and my business partner, Angela, putting in a majority of the work. And then her parents help out with some of the financial stuff. Luckily, her mom's a retired CPA, and her dad has so many other skills that he helps out with. And then my mom is on the legal side of things. She's been a lawyer for 30 years. So I don't know. We've got a pretty good support system.
Perfect storm.
Oh, the perfect storm.
Seriously.
No,
wow.
You can't write a better narrative.
No.
I know.
And it's great.
It's
so
been
great.
Awesome. So much fun. Like, it's like our big family. Like, our parents are our board, and like, we're just one big family, and we've all known each other for 5 years now, because Angela and I played soccer together. So like, our parents always sat next to each other while we played soccer together, and now they're helping us at booths and learning about CBD alongside with us and how to be entrepreneurs.
I'm glad that you shared all those things, because it also helps anyone who is young and listening to this understand like how important it is to know that you're not doing it all yourself. You have to trust others to take part in the dynamic that is a business, right? Because there's multiple structures that hold it up for it to run smoothly. And so, again, your story just really lends itself to that very, very point. So we know this now. We know what you're doing. We know some degree of the structure of how that's running. Now let's talk about like the product itself that you decided that this is what you wanted to focus on. I imagine there's a whole fleet of products you haven't envisioned, but which one was the one that you were like, this is what I can start with?
So we got some of the concepts from the Colorado facility, but and we make a lot of our products in our lab. But the one thing that is pretty unique to Primo Gardens is that the ones with the infusion lab in here, we can custom make products specifically to individual people. So you get to pick the potency, which is the concentration of CBD, whether it's full spectrum or broad spectrum. So full spectrum contains trace amounts of THC, not enough to get you high, but just what was naturally occurring in the plant. And then we have broad spectrum, where they extract the THC out for people who are conscious of that. And then you get to go in and pick essential oils and terpenes, which are plant extracts that have different essences like flavor and aroma, but then they also do something to the body. So we've been able to like custom formulate blends for sleep or for energy, for hangovers, just for like stress and clutter in your head. So we made some pre-formulated ones, but you can come in here and build your own custom blend.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys know the benefits of CBD really? Are you guys familiar?
Yeah, me personally, I've had a lot of experience in my past. Yeah.
Okay.
And like Jason said, he wants to make sure you stay on after the conversation, because he's definitely interested in a lot of that. But it is a powerful thing, and not enough people take advantage of something that is a very natural solution to a lot of modern problems.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I can actually tell a personal story about CBD. It's relevant. So I have a client up in Montana that has been a client of mine for a long time, and she runs CBD company up there. And she sent me this, I don't remember what the name of it was exactly, but but I still use it today. I like use it in small quantities. And so I'm an ex-military guy, and I have some struggles. And for me, for sleeping, right, is difficult for me. And I got on a regiment of CBD, and it took a while. It took a couple of weeks for it to really, must have took a while to get into my system. But I am absolutely a success story that it does do something. So my dad, he uses it, like most of my family uses it. And there's a whole layer of a story I'll tell you a different time with that. But yeah, I'm a huge believer in it. And you know, the thing is if you don't try it, you don't know what works or what doesn't.
Right.
So it's really important for that note, on that note.
Yeah. And with CBD, we all have an endocannabinoid system within us. So our bodies were kind of made to receive these compounds. And with CBD, it's a non-psychoactive component, whereas THC is the primary psychoactive component. Sometimes that's an adverse effect for some people, but with CBD, it just helps bring you back to your normal. So everybody's normal is different, obviously, but it's just you without all these negative things like you're stressed, worried, anxious. It helps regulate those moods, and then physical discomforts. It can help ease some of those, and just other imbalances, like you were saying, with sleep, and it can help in the morning with focus and energy and all those kinds of things. So it's just about balance, really.
I think, yes. And thank you for all that. I think there's also another excellent opportunity to address being who you are and your story and where you're at. A lot of people who are coming out and are young always talk about not wanting to miss out, right? FOMO, on being able to travel and do all these things. In fact, some people end up getting jobs and then get mad that they haven't gone out to another city or another, what have you. But because you are so passionate about what you're doing, it doesn't seem like that's troubling your mind as of now, because you know you've got things you need to accomplish. So I was wondering if you could speak to that, because that is something I've personally had conversations with people who graduated college and went straight to work and didn't really get a chance to go anywhere else. And then they feel like that's the reason why they feel held back in life, when that's clearly not the case. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, and so you could address that.
Yeah, I really honestly don't experience the FOMO from like college life, at least. Like I'm in a pretty dense area in Columbus with Ohio State on one end and downtown. So I don't get that type of FOMO, but definitely sometimes with the traveling stuff. But I get to travel with what I'm doing too. Like we go to expos out in Vegas sometimes and different areas to different networking events to meet people. And I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun there too. And my mom always says this to me, that I'm jamming 40 years into 4. So it's okay. Like I'm in my grind right now, and it's cool because like my 30s are going to be relaxing while I'm still doing a good thing. But like I'm definitely in grind mode now. And I feel like it's just, I'm willing to sacrifice it for now. And there's definitely hard days where I'm like, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish all my friends are going to different countries and being able to travel and all that sort of thing. But like I was saying earlier, we do have a pretty strong support system. So that our parents do help us out. Like sometimes Ange will take a weekend somewhere. She was just in England visiting her family, and we handled that out. So like she got to take a trip, and it's just about scheduling our times. And I don't know, you still do need to give yourself that break. You can't be in go mode 24/7, or else you're really not going to be that productive. You have to have the R&R, rest and relaxation, to be able to have the good ideas and keep moving forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, all valid. And I'm glad that you addressed it, just because it needs to be asked, because I know that in particular, that is a conversation that happens a lot, especially when people are young. Like, it's funny, I'm 33 and I already feel like I'm over the hill, but then I'll meet somebody else who's like, 33, you can't even wipe your own butt yet, you know? Like, so I know that it's all relative, but it things feel so permanent really early on, especially in the modern age that we live in today. So to hear your story, the kind of support and the kind of structures that you have in place, but also the vision that you have and the amount of effort you're willing to invest because you know there's an ROI at the end of it all for you. All of that is very inspiring. So I'm curious, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and learn more about what you're doing, maybe even follow you on social because they're interested in like up to date information, you know, the latest and greatest, where do you prefer for people to connect with you?
Yeah, people can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Erin Babcock in all capital letters. You can also go to my website. It's www.primogardensinc.com. And I actually made a code for your guys listeners and you guys and anyone else, I guess, who's listening. But War Room 10, you can put it in the cart to get 10% off. Building your own blend or any other kinds of CBD products.
Already doing business just like that. Take a note, young ones.
Yeah. Well, here's the really cool thing about this conversation. If you didn't know any better and her screen was dark, you would never, ever, ever think that she was a new business owner.
Yeah.
You project yourself like you've been doing business for many, many years. And that is a really good trait. And my inkling is you've had some really good mentors too. So,
yeah, I've met a lot of great people who give me amazing advice on everything. And I don't know, just surrounding myself with more people like that. Like we were saying earlier, it's not necessarily about relating to people your age. I mean, you don't necessarily, that's not the quality, like that's just a number. It's more like entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs I relate to a lot because we're all kind of in the same boat figuring out together. And I feel like it's been an awesome journey.
Yeah.
Well, your energy is infectious, I will tell you.
Yeah.
Right now.
No, it's great. It's great. I'm really glad that we had the chance. Again, like Jason said, it's a fortuitous moment. Just being able to interview with you, have a conversation about what you're doing, where you come from, and where you plan to go. You know, all of this is going to be really exciting, and it's recorded forever. Yeah. So, with that said, if you could explicitly speak to people who are, let's say, then they're still in college and still trying to decide what they're going to do, right? What would you say to them?
I would say to not have walls up about what people think about you or that you might embarrass yourself by going out on a limb and doing something that you care about and that you are passionate about. But the thing that goes along with it too is that it has to be putting something positive into the world. So just, I don't know, look at things in a different perspective, take a step back. If you are about to graduate and you don't know if that degree isn't what you want to do, then just take a step back and do some soul searching and see what you really want to do. And then, I don't know, hit me up on LinkedIn and I'll talk to you. I don't know.
Oh, I like that.
You can have a conversation, but just follow your heart, and that's all.
No, I like that. It's valid because you said that the first step is changing your perspective and taking a step back. The next step is really accustomed to like where you are in life and what you plan to do with that. And that's also important to highlight. It just goes to show, again, your self-awareness of like circumstances and where people can find themselves at. So, and you extended an olive branch, which is very kind of you. So all of that is awesome. With that said, before I go to the grand finale, which is my next move, I want to check in with Jason. How does it feel?
Let's roll it.
All right. So the grand finale, right, for 1,000,000 points is if you could have invited anybody today to sit here and listen in on the conversation, dead or alive, like literally your pick of the litter, who would you have invited here today to listen to what we talked about and why?
Okay. I don't know if this is a corny answer or what, and she's probably going to listen to it later, but I would invite my mom, honestly, Kelly Babcock, because I don't know, we've been doing this together for the last couple of years, and I'm just excited to see what else we're going to do. And I would ask her how big of a footprint she wants to leave with me on this world. We've got like a couple businesses together, and I feel like we're just going to keep doing more.
Okay, so you were holding back. You have a bunch of other businesses. That explains everything.
Yeah. Her businesses, her cultivation.
Yeah. No, I'm teasing. No, that's awesome. What a great energy. I can tell that you are excited and passionate about what you're doing, and to have found it so young, just incredible, because you're right. Your 30s are going to be a heck of a lot different than most people who you started out school with. And you'll be able to speak to that should you ever decide to do that, because you really did choose the path least traveled, to put it in no uncertain terms. So with that said, thank you so much. I'm actually going to take a look at what you got going on. I have had many an experience with CBD products. There's like this one drink I have every now and then called Unicorn Tears. I don't know if you heard of it. It's pretty delicious, but it's basically, it's supposed to be like an alternative to an energy drink, Gotcha. So for me, I get it. I know it works. And I have had many a year in the past when I was young, in the college age and all that, like experimenting with THC. And yeah, I am one person that THC does not help, but CBD does. Jason, any thoughts? Want to close this out?
Well, I would just say this because, I look back, I didn't get started as quickly as you did, but I started really young too, pretty young. Mm-hmm. And with some of my first businesses that I ever opened. And here's a point to take away from all this is now don't put walls up where you are, right? Keep expanding them walls out, right? Into the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. The next thing you know, your portfolio is vested across 7 companies, right? So, because that's where I am today. So It's like, and now you're truly leaving a big, huge footprint on the world, right? So you have so much opportunity ahead of you and so much that you get to do still. And just don't build any walls around what you're doing now. Just keep kicking them down and kicking them down and kicking them down. Keep an open mind. And keep an open mind. So about all the things that there are out there to expand on, right? And that those are the things that will take you to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level, and the next level. And then you get into philanthropy, and then you get on and on and on, right? So, but I always say this in kind of closing is thank you for taking the time to be here. Time is the most important thing we have. We all get the same hours every week. So thanks for taking a little bit of time and spending it with us here in the War Room today. And gosh, there's a saying that we say in our exit to this video, and that is dream it, believe it, and go achieve it.
I love it.
You have embodied that.
I love it.
So
thank you guys so much.
That is a great thing. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks. This was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
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 Thanks for listening to the War Room Roundtable with your hosts, Jason Miller and Phillip Lanos. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and always remember, if you can dream it and believe it, then you can go achieve it. We'll see you in the next episode.